The Minnesota state government is finally up and running again after a 20-day, shutdown. And what changed? What changed from June 30th, the last day of the regular legislative session, to now? Well, a few things changed, but basically Governor Dayton, in my opinion, caved in to the Republican proposals when it came to the budget negotiations. $700 million more dollars shifted from K through 12 education, now making that 40% of all K through 12 education money being held back by the state of Minnesota for an entire year. Imagine having to run your own business or run anything where 40% of your clientele or 40% of the money that's supposed to go to it isn't coming till next year. Pretty tough to keep the doors open, I would say, for most people. The rest of the budget gap is being closed by borrowing money and bonds against future tobacco settlements, which is from the tobacco settlement that we got a number of years ago from the big tobacco companies, just issuing bonds against that money that's going to come in eventually down the road. I think this budget is kicking the can down the road, in my personal opinion, and solves nothing. Therefore, I think the 22,000 plus state employees that were put on furlough really got put on furlough for, frankly, no reason whatsoever, because I don't think a solution really got resolved here. Again, next year, I think the budget deficit, the budget problem is going to be even greater than it was this year. But the one thing that frustrates me is, in all this talk about jobs and budgets, I don't think enough happened. Not enough got done. A 6% overall increase in the budget, I know, is what we're really potentially looking at. But without making true hard cuts in departments like Health and Human Services and to the state workforce and finding that pork and fat in state government, it's going to be very, very tough to ever close down that budget gap and really make Minnesota the state it used to be years ago when it came to budgets, back when governors like Arne Carlson were able to keep a balanced budget going year after year after year. But the one thing that did irk me is we're going to have a constitutional amendment vote coming up in 2012 on gay marriage, even though gay marriage is already illegal in the state of Minnesota. Therefore, no matter what the outcome is of that constitutional amendment vote, it won't actually change the laws here in the state of Minnesota, other than to make it, I guess, harder for a judge to ever overturn the law. But here's a constitutional amendment I would like to see done here in the state of Minnesota. How about this? How about anybody that's in the state legislator or a state legislator, when we go into, overtime like we did this year past June 30th, and there's going to be a special session or possible shutdown, how about a constitutional amendment that would bar any public official from getting paid? Let's see if that will speed up the process in a year from now. Let's see if maybe then people will get their work done in St. Paul in a timely fashion. So you and I, as taxpayers in Minnesota, don't keep paying that sales tax and everything and have nothing more to show for it during that time frame.